well, Hudson Young got sin bin, and I thought that sort of Raiders looked like they were going to lose the game, but then he came on second half, last 20 minutes, and pretty much won the game. But the Sharks, they're looking really good, like a top 4 team. Like the attack and stuff is like real fast. I don't know if you've seen some of their previous games, but I just feel like they're missing a couple of pieces, to sort of get them over the edge for being a grand final team. Most notable will be, I reckon, Will Kennedy. A huge sort of hole in that spine for the Sharks. But man, Raiders really good one. Did you see guys Sticky celebrating it at the end like they won the grand final? Bro.
They tipped the Sharks just because they got that firepower.
Mm.
It's unreal what the firepower they've got across the board, adding Adam Blake this year. And what I'm seeing from them is them still trying to figure out whose team it is.
Yeah.
So they're pretty...
between Hines and Trindle.
Yeah. Trindle looks like a dominant playmaker.
Mm.
And I love to see it. He's actually really good. Looking back on when Hines was doing really well, he'd touch the ball 80% of the sets in terms of playmaking. So I think they're still adjusting to how to balance out their playmaking. I personally think Trindle should take over for the most part, and then just have Hines drop some magic long balls here and there, but they're way too talented to be dropping games like this. Raiders, you know what they're going to play. They're going to bash you, and then Fogs is just going to kick you out of the game, kick corners, kick to his wingers, kick to his second rowers. You know exactly what they're going to do. My mate, T. Smokey, he must have been watching my defensive tapes because he can't make a tackle these days.
I
love you, bro.
I love you, bro. Man.
I don't know how Ricky does it. They don't.
Yeah, getting
the best to have the record
young
that,
team,
that they've got. Yeah,
I reckon, Foggy, he's so important to Raiders. Like when he got injured last year, his kicking game, especially his short kicking game, it was so mean. It's crazy to think if they can keep a lot of these young guys together. Like this is not even them at full strength. Like probably in a couple of years is when you'll see them grow. The Strangers, the Starlings, and Paddy from the bench as well.
Hopefully, it's not too affected by the rumors that he might. I mean, Manly's trying to poach Frogs. I think that's the rumor anyway. So hopefully that doesn't disturb them too much in terms of their team going forward.
Tapping is probably the key to the Raiders.
Taps.
Like there's a couple of times where his discipline kind of lets him down and stuff, and he's trying to make these big plays and then gives away penalties. But if he's on the field, like their go forward is good. I think he leads that pack real well. From my point of view, I think give the ball more to Hines. Like you said, he touched the ball 80%. He's kind of just sitting back and kind of just waiting for things to happen and kind of waiting for the ball to come to him instead of going out there and trying to get the game. Even some of the depth that they have in the centres with Hiroti coming, like they've got some pretty good strike out the back.
Edo as well.
Yeah.
Him and the centres, man. Yeah, talk about strike.
Cookie power, eh? Edo.
Got to get those names right, bro? These commentators, man.
The Raiders forward pack, bro. They got some power in there, bro. The horse, right? Who else you got? You got
Horse, brah.
Papali'i's still there too, and Nicholson was a good find for the season.
Yeah, he might keep Hosking from the starting lineup, probably.
Right,
He's been pretty gun. A lot of competition in that back row.
What do you guys think about the coaches sitting on the sideline? Like Stick
does love it, man.
Good for the game. Started to do it.
Benji comes down. Yeah.
I think I'm seeing old Wayno come in as well.
He leaves at the end of the first, gets there just at the end.
Yeah. Make it look like he's been there then also. But no, I love it.
Good for the game.
Before we move on, pop quiz. Who was Nico Hines' number 6 when he won his Daddy M? Matty Moylan.
Oh, yeah.
And he was barely touching the ball.
Yeah.
I saw him at the World Cup. Touch World Cup over in England.
He's moved over, eh?
Brother used to play for the Aussies Open Men's, and he was just there having a beer, watching the finals.
And you were there just stalking.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, look, there's Matty Moylan," and then everybody wanted photos with him.
That was you.
Yeah, 100%.
Us celebrities hate that, bro.
Moving on. Panthers Cowboys. I don't think anyone tipped the Cowboys winning this one with the struggling starts of their season, and the Chin coming back from injury as well. 18-22, they went down. But there was a play at the end of the second half. I think it was McLean held on to it, and he could have let it go to Jenkins to win the game. Just didn't deserve to win overall. Credit to the Cowboys, man. Came away with it. Purdue, almost axed him for fantasy, yeah, and then he comes away with a 63.0 here. But yeah, now Cowboys, I don't think anyone tipped them to win, but yeah, definitely missing Edwards, I thought, in this game.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are going to be fine. They're more experienced guys: Cleary, Yo, Martin, Edwards. They've played a lot of footy.
Yeah.
With all the finals and representative stuff. So understandable that they all start slow and whatever injuries they've had. And then they've got a bunch of really, really young boys. Like the McLean boys are really young. And they're starting to grow some of their more experienced guys, the 2-3 year guys, your Tungles, Cole even, Garners, they're going to be all right. So I'm not too worried about them. Good for the Cowboys. I'm not seeing much more success for the Cowboys this season. They'll be fighting for the wooden spoon. That'll be my hot take for them.
Yeah.
I was going to add the Finns into that list.
Don't you be adding them. Don't you be worrying about them. I just wanted to start off slow just to bring, everyone, just calm everyone down a little bit, and then they're going to be on their run, bro. It's going to be a 10 game winning streak. That's my hot take.
They've got a different sort of forward pack now.
Lindsay Smith.
He's got some really good footwork, like footwork at the line and stuff. And I think it's like knowing when to chuck that on, like he'll start to
put I rate him too, bro.
Into space, man. Can they need to get rid of Laurie and like even put Jenkins at the back? Like when Jenkins played fullback that one game, Edwards is going to be out for longer periods.
Just to circle back on a couple of things that Carl raised there, Lindsay Smith. It's very unique that players from the Caucasus Mountains have footwork. And so they cancelled me.
Whereabouts is that?
You want to expand on that, bro?
From the Caucasus.
Yeah,
no.
Some mountains in Caucasus.
Up around the corner in Lebueta. Anyway, quick question to the team. Best footwork Caucasian player. I'm gonna check in I'm checking in Watmo because he just has really small steps. Didn't step anyone, but he just has really lightning quick steps. Typical Caucasian.
Trying to think, actually, that's a good one.
And one of the front, in the middle too.
Footwork for Caucasian players, man. Probably comes to me randomly when we're talking about the Knights and
exactly.
So you reckon Cotter's making Queensland this year?
Don't know.
Not on form.
Not even Nanai, as well.
Nanai's been
with his struggles getting into the starting side,
He's playing Q Cup,
sucks.
He played the last game.
But it's alright. If he doesn't make Origin, we got Bo Fermor from
Bro, he's blooding some new players this year, I reckon.
Shame on you, bro. He's been MIP for the Titans, bro. Don't you worry about that, bro.
He's actually been happy and stand up for the Titans, I think.
MIP, bro.
100%, G.
Bro, Hazy, you shut up.
Peter slowly getting his minutes up as well.
Herman down the sideline.
Down the sideline, getting ready to jump out.
Take over Capewah.
Nah, Capewa's in there as well.
No, you shut up. You shut up, Carl. I'll not be taking Capewah here.
Capewah all day.
Nah, G.
Fill in the centers as well.
Experience, man.
Only if he plays center, bro. He'll be the best center out there.
100%.
Yeah, Rabbitohs, Roosters. Rabbitohs coming away with the win there, 2014. Oh, bro. Chalmers coming back. Like, he made an immediate impact straight off the bat. There was a point early in the first half where he grabs the ball from dummy and he just barges over. No try. But after that, bro, he didn't get the ball again. Like, they tried to, one-off first receiver to people like Wyden. And then the show and goes from Sullivan and, the likes of Dry Grade is awesome. But just, give the ball to Chalmers. Like, he can do magic every time he touches the ball. That didn't end up working out well in the second half with his failed 40-20s kicking out in the full. But, as we saw at the end, they're winning the game with that long ball to Isaiah Tass on left edge there, winning the game. bro, you just got to get the ball in Charlotte's hand. Issues with injury again. Bro, NRL's got to start chucking money at all these yoga practitioners that are out there to get these guys super flexy so they don't get injuries to their lower limbs, man. I mean, with this, we're seeing all these army camps and all the stuff in their preseason training and, all the preseason build up and all that stuff. We need to start seeing them stretch, bro. Bro, you know who's stealing money at the Rabbitohs? Jack White.
He's there for the vibes.
Oh, bro.
He's there for the vibes, bro.
That was quite weird because they threw Mitchell into the halves, not White.
Yeah, he wasn't the first option to get into the halves after playing from the beginning of the year. So
I've never seen him kick the ball so much. Obviously, the accuracy wasn't there, but he's got a hell of a boot on him. I was just wondering how other teams like New South Wales might use that as well. With Reece Walsh doing a lot of kicking for the Broncos, Drinkwater's doing a bit of kicking, so how teams start to bring that aspect of their players in. He's probably the best long kicker in their team at the moment with their injuries. So just something to watch there. This is obviously a lot of Origin-related stuff. I saw Lindsay Collin get his leg snapped in half.
MCL.
That looked
MCL. So he
yeah.
All right, next time we're doing
running out of big boys.
Automatic.
They need big boys.
No, I think we're fine on that front. If he misses out.
Third string players and will win.
Yeah, injuries is killing the game at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's the surface around that Sydney area, New South Wales area is just, no one likes to play on those grounds, and I get it. If I was running and on that park as well, I would have snapped my knee myself running out on that place. Right?
That's what he gets. That's what he gets for making the effort plays being there all the time.
I think it might have been
he's just
bro,
doing
exactly
Tedesco
all
can't.
the effort going unrewarded.
Might have been his
like
hair
that.
just kind of moving him too
He's just
far.
doing what Tedesco can't, catch the ball, score the try. Yeah, it was just unlucky that he was impeded while he was going for that try. Otherwise, he would have scored and brought the game closer. But yeah, it is a little bit of a blow for in terms of Queensland with Collins out. But I'm sure we'll have the firepower there to replace him if he's out. Question for you guys, but obviously with Dill's out, Panthers, and their fullback. Teddy's been playing in his at his peak, and he's been like to start the season. He's been awesome for the Roosters. Do you think he's gonna play Origin?
Turbo in one leg.
Really?
Trell plus 10 kgs.
Man, if I were you guys, I'll put Teddy straight in there, bro. He's the backbone for you guys, man. Like he's been.
They need a captain as well.
Yeah, they need a captain. He just sits.
That's a Gerbo.
Yeah,
that's a Gerbo one and done.
I don't know if he'll make it.
Bro, Gerbo's gonna be with Gidley. He's gonna be captain
on the bench and captain from the bench.
Yeah, that's what I'm happy too, but still sad.
But like in all seriousness, like he's been like really good for the Roosters this year. But Siwa Wong had a mean game.
Bro, he's improved so much in the short time frame. He looked like a seasoned player in the last game.
There was talk about him being, the next big thing for the Roosters like last year, and that didn't really quite come to fruition. But we're kind of starting to see it now. Also, does Connor Watson start in the 9 jersey? Would you have him start, or you keep him at utility?
Perfect utility.
Well, Robbo at 9. Who is at 9?
Robbo.
Will be Robbo, but
Damien Cook.
Just to dull it.
They sleep on nothing.
Just because he plays everywhere, basically. Watson. So, and then the way the concussions and injuries going, have to have that Craig Wynn 3.0.
Bro, they're skipping. That's lunchtime sports stuff, man. Like their little skip. That's the ugliest piece I've ever seen.
The quarterback
chuck their long ball probably forward, but
is that their quarterback pass?
Yeah, the quarterback one.
Yeah. But it's still like a mean skip ball. But
and from the Roosters' point of view, they just need to learn how to bloody crossfield kick to their wingers. They're like 7 foot tall, both of them.
Why don't they do that, bro? That's another big thing with
utilizing
these wingers.
Yeah, just fucking
like you're ending the set running, bro. Just chuck it up in the air and see how it goes. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Straight up.
Exactly.
But they're kind of like the Sharks, right? Like you know that they've got a good enough team to win those types of games, but just couldn't close it out for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
it just doesn't
Might be,
convert to points. Yeah,
might be Townsend, it might be something else, but
Gonna give a shout out to Nafahu White. It's been
Mhm.
gassed to start the season, bro.
yeah, another beneficiary for injuries. Seeing all
Mm.
these players come up
Another
and now
defensive
solidifying the
gonna get
starting
Tonga.
spot.
The thing that changed his trajectory was that Pacific Nations Test series.
And
He
James
just
Conner.
really stood up. He was one of the only dudes that stood up against Tonga when our pack was just getting annihilated. So yeah,
Shout out
This game,
to you, Nafahu. I know you'll be watching this.
unless you forget the young Roosters forward, they're coming off the bench, bro. I think he's a stud coming out for the future. Real boy. So keep
he'll
an
get
eye out
into
for him.
some nefarious activities.
I think he's part Caucasus as well.
Oh,
Anyways, moving on to the Eels and Dragons. Eels, I don't think anyone tipped for the Eels to win this one, but they won 21-22 out in Sydney. So I didn't expect Yongi to have, the game that he ended up having, but yeah, he stood out. Walker making his debut for the Eels coming off the bench. Their rotation for this game was a bit weird at the start with Hopgood starting out at hooker. And bro, his delivery from hooker was on. Yeah, hopefully the
Bolter?
confusion.
oh, he was I think like 18th man last year. Or was he on the bench?
It was
He
that.
played.
Played on the
He
Maybe
bench.
he
played.
was on the bench.
He
Yeah,
played, I think.
he's definitely in there.
Yeah, I don't mind if he's in there, but we already got a team full of like workhorses, man. We don't need, but it'd be good to have like firepower. The Fafitas like to bloody hurry up and stop
Kick
chilling.
into gear, eh?
They like how
Yeah.
Fafita's one, I think just effort, bro, Fafita.
This Eels Dragons game. It was the revenge game. Yep, and Gutho had a big part to play in it, and then just like a perfectly written movie, Zachary kicks that kick at the end
Yeah.
to win it for his team, and it's just cool that those two were the ones going back and forth.
Yeah.
Seeing that game, yeah, so it was an excellent game. Just a bit of mail on Dylan Walker. So Jimmy Maloney a few weeks back in one of his podcast segments, he made a call about one of the players having relations with the partner of a staff member or something.
Bro,
What is Jimmy up to, bro? He doesn't want the smoke from the players. This guy's
And then-
cheeky as a
And then the
bona
week
fide grub, bro.
Walker's gone. So is that a thing? That's all but confirmed on, for me. So
Dog act from one of the boys.
Dylan Walker hooking up with one of the coaches' middies, eh? My guy.
Nah, ended up being a good move for him, bro. He helped that team out big time. It was noticeable. But yeah, Dragons look like they were gonna come away with that one. And then Eels stealing it.
Yeah, for me, those two teams are probably going to be battling it out for the spoon.
Dragons, surprisingly, I rate them, this year.
I don't like them, man. Play some boring footy.
Nah, who I don't rate in their team that everyone always talks about and goes on about, Valentine Holmes, man. I don't reckon he's as good as everyone's talking about, eh? Like, if he gets into the Queensland team, I'm always celebrating because I know he's going to have a bad day.
man, he's caught you guys up for
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
It's the same as Teddy.
he's been copying you guys, bro.
Watch
Yeah,
this year. If
just
he's out on the wing or
Just
center,
scores all
game
these
over.
tries and kicks all these goals, but
Yo,
Chuck him in there.
Watch
Yeah.
the space.
He's only had it was like a couple of defensive reads in the last couple of seasons, bro. In the last couple of matchups, that was it. But anyone can make that, Anyone can make those defensive reads. It happens to the best of us, eh? Yeah, Gutho always give you a 7.5, 8 out of 10 game. He's just consistent, bro. King Gutho.
Yeah, but isn't it sad that we don't talk about him for Origin Day when we're talking about fullbacks?
Never.
Because you guys
Never
are so
again.
stacked.
no.
Well, at least
Never
he's
again.
made it there. But you guys
Well,
are so stacked at fullback.
You put Teddy ahead of him and Gutho is carving. But yeah, I don't rate Gutho, but it's sad that we talk about Gutho being consistent and safe and then he's not in the discussion for Origin.
Gutho's just effort, eh? Like, I think he's just an effort sort of fullback. Turns up in the right places, like will save tries and stuff.
You almost described Dylan Edwards, but I think Edwards
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
in contact is a little bit stronger. Out of yards, he's much stronger.
Yeah.
So I think that's difference at the next level.
And he's just got that connection with that spine. Like if you think about that 13-7 connection with Yo and Cleary.
yeah, that was my gripe with Gerbo, man. Just like not being able to bend the line. Like, given the captaincy and his position in New South Wales, like you need those players in this position to really be bending the line. Like every time it's touching them.
Bends it down the way. Bends it down the way, bro.
He's the captain of the vibes, man. That's why he's captain.
Bro, he's a vibes captain, bro.
Vibes,
Good, man. But nah, yeah, I think the forward pack for the Dragons is underrated too. They got Workhorse and DeBallen. They got Little. They just founded Daniel Egan and Hamish Stewart as well. So good advice for them. And they also got Jaden Suter. White Salmon Mariners. Whiting can't even get a game. He's usually there or thereabouts there. And then got Cookie leading them as well. But Cookie should be in the starting line for New South Wales, man. Just for old times' sake.
Right, that's why I don't put the Dragons near the bottom 8 or bottom 4 at least. But yeah, like they're just deep. Their bench and their bench players coming up. Everyone's fighting for a forward spot.
It's just their halves.
Halves.
Ilias, yeah. Probably for the starting 7, probably the worst. If there's a ratings for it, Ilias probably the worst rated halfback in the comp at the moment.
Yeah, who's in their halves? Ilias and
Flanagan.
Lano, Sunboy. Yeah, Flanagan, all effort. He should be the one directing around the park.
Because his dad's the coach, otherwise he has to walk home.
As he's walking home, bro.
No dinner tonight. He didn't play well.
I'd still have Ilias over Townsend.
Oh, yeah. But Townsend not really their starting halfback. That's sort of, he's filling in at the moment.
He's kicked some pretty good 40-20, so...
And he shanked a lot more
7 years ago.
Yeah, when he played for the Wires.
I thought.
What about question for the boys? What about how do you guys rate that second rower, Kautonga?
I mean, good for my fantasy team.
From a fantasy point of view, mate, he's been killing him for
thank you.
Had him, bro. So hey, thank you.
Yeah, another effort guy. I mean, Gutho scored from dummy because he was slow to get back on marker, but he had done a lot more tackles earlier in that set. So he was gone. But the halfback for the Eels, Hawkins, bro, just watched them struggling to get back. Knew that Gutho was coming in from dummy half, and just watched them score the try. Yeah, and Kautonga he would have got blamed for that one, but he had done a lot of he had done a lot of work earlier in that set. So understandably he was a bit slow to get back to the try line to stop that try. But bro,
that's what's crazy about him being there is that he wouldn't have thought he'd have a sniff beginning of the season with how much depth they've got in the second row.
Yeah,
and their New South Wales Cup team is stacked with.
Matheson and
all of them. Tulangi, like guys that have been playing
that have played first grade
NRL, first grade for a long time.
Yeah.
He would have been way down the list.
Do you reckon Dylan Brown's playing to get released?
He stepped up this game.
Yeah, he had a good game.
He had a really good game.
He finished the game with 2 line break assists, 1 line break and 1 try assist.
Yeah.
Which is way better than what his original, like his other stats for the last. Yeah. That's probably like his overall stats for the last few games before that. But it's no coincidence that if he has a good game, that the Eels won, and then Iongi had finally brought the best out of Iongi. In the last few rounds or the rounds to start the season, he's been poor man has been playing defense most of the time.
There was that one play, I think, game was on the line and he takes the ball and tries to chuck it into space to the wing array, and it just goes to nobody. You want to see that, then you kind of weigh up the pros and cons.
I don't think they're battling for the split. Oh,
I think they are, bro.
Yeah, you've got Eels, Cowboys, Finns.
Hey.
Yeah. Move on to Finns then.
Yeah, now speaking of Finns, good one. 36-10. Even though I thought the Titans sort of shot themselves in the foot Gilbert, I thought his return to footy was a bit. I don't think there's a place for him coming back, even though he'll easily slot in because of who he is as captain. But Max Plath slotting in and staying at 13, and then Werlo coming off and having a good game with a couple of line breaks and try assists. Got to ask that question: does Gilbert come back and sort of fill in as assistant coach?
Funny this game. I'm actually disappointed by the Titans. I thought they were on a bit of a streak. They are quite a streaky team, and the Dolphins, as soon as they hit injuries, they obviously don't have the depth of other teams. So good on them for getting this kind of result. Interesting from these two teams, the amount of origin. Well, this is a Queensland derby, but the amount of origin-worthy players that are in this team. So obviously Saifidi for New South Wales, he'll get a sniff. But Plath, I think he at least gets 18th man for Queensland this year. Obviously, Big Tino straight into prop or 13. Tapuai Fido straight into centre. Fifita, potentially, he's sort of an X factor player you need, but the last couple of weeks, I've finally saw what Billy was saying about effort, especially around the defence. He sort of turns off. But and obviously you got Finn Diesel Kofusi who will start again at prop, and you've got Bo Firmo as a blazer. But I want to look into this one. For the Wicker, he'll probably be at the other starting prop now that Collins is gone. So tons of origin-worthy players in here. But the smoky I wanted to talk about is Jaden Campbell. What's the chances he gets a sniff at that 7 jersey? He's a bit of a gun. He's got the confidence, run a team around.
Yeah,
because Ponga's moldy now, so he's out.
I think it's hard to go past sort of Dearden and Munster. Like you'd probably put Dearden at 7 and Munster at 6.
Yeah, and you'll be happy with that, especially with Dearden and his effort and definition of Queensland spirit.
I'm happy with that as a New South Wales fan.
All right. I think it's maybe a little bit too early to call it for Jaden Campbell. Maybe if he continues to play like this, maybe he can potentially over Dearden in the next couple of Origin series. But if he keeps playing like this, he's been outstanding for the Titans to start the season, bro. And I think that was Hasler's best move, putting him into 7. Think about Kieran Foran, when he comes back, he's old anyway, he's on the way out. But where do you put him? I've always thought, how they use Kieran at the Kiwis at 9, that he could jump in at 9 and keep the halves pairing the same.
They got to fix their one spot, bro, because the group was
with Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny's big shoes to fill.
Yeah, just the group didn't do enough or doesn't do enough to follow up the ball on the inside, and I think that what Tully was saying about the combo between Brimson and Campbell, man, they're just like a 1-2 punch. I think Cooper or even Shawnee mentioned it. Jaden Campbell doesn't need to play at the ad line. He can get the ball and sort of create, get himself over the ad line, and then once that's done, quick play the ball, and then Brimson's sort of hitting those spots. I think the only thing that they probably don't get right with the Titans is using sort of their edge forwards. I think Fafita didn't get much ball because every time he went to Brimson, he saw space on the inside, stepped off his left foot and tried to take that space, and it takes away sort of giving Fafita some early ball to run. But in saying that, you kind of saw parts of those halves him just slip away because he was defending too much and not being able to get the ball and just being tired.
Right, and him and Campbell and Brimson are both running halves, compared to other half combos. So obviously the edge forwards won't get as much ball because the halves take the run on more than they should pass or kick. But I think that's also a cool thing to have for compared to all the other teams where they're like a run and gun type team.
But didn't really converted to points, which is pretty sad.
But yeah, man, I think Campbell for the future, if he continues to play like this, and then his kicking game will grow with the confidence he has.
Which is crazy to me, bro, because these guys, these smaller guys coming up, like you think, just get a big enforcer and just whack them and they'll be out for the game. But the smaller guys tend to be like the ones that are performing well for the NRL at the moment, with the two Pickies and Kenny being out. Campbell, another, smaller frame type player that are just carving up the comp at the moment.
They're protected now. So it's
Yeah.
not just the small dudes, it's the old blokes as well. So you got these old as dirt playmakers, Reynolds, DCE, even Hunt. They're just extending their careers because they don't have to get hurt.
Yeah.
They're protected when they kick, when they pass, and then they've got a big back row helping them make tackles. So
you should have sent Dan Mimo to money when he got a suplex by Olukuatu just today.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear.
Yeah. Bro, he got a lot of spikies. I think Tino being back, bro, he already lifted the team. Him coming back from injury couple rounds ago. Bro, he's straight into my starting side for Origin, bro.
Yeah.
You need a guy like that to go up against these grubs now on the other end, that on the receiving end. But yeah, he also like him to he'll probably have to try and double team both May and Haas for New South.
Bro, Paddy will back him up.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But just to give these guys hope. But yeah, Tino there, I reckon. He's already.
So that's the first 20 minutes. What about the rest of the game?
Fotueka.
Yeah, for the 80 for the dual 80 minutes they played.
Fotueka, Horsbarra.
No, you got the horse there. I'd have Plathy on my team. He's a workhorse. Man, if they decide not to use Hunt this year, he'll be my utility role on the bench because he can cover hooker as well, and then any spot in the forwards he can cover too.
Right, Hunt played Grant for me in the last Origin series, I thought.
Yeah,
Hunt's just got a good because he plays in the halves. You can kind of see that space and see outside him. Like Harry Grant's good when he runs. And when he tries to be crafty out of half, like in that Origin arena, I don't think it works, man. And that's why he comes on from the bench to try and inject. But
he's more Brandon Smith than he's Cam Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his kicking game, add another dimension to their game with with early 40-20s that he tries to get more often than not. Anyway, we'll move on to the Broncos later. But bro, Plathy, in my Origin side this year, Saifiti's been good, bro. But he does have those errors in his game, which there's a couple of drop balls or just silly play the balls that they had throughout the game, and so those things they'll keep him out of Origin because those things are so important. And it's going to be harder now with Haas and me and Barnett as well. There as well.
Shining light for the Finns though, Katoa. He's stepped up heaps for a young kid, man. He is directing that team around. And I don't think to be honest, the Finns' performances over over the first couple of rounds, they haven't been too bad. They just like Kay said earlier, they just haven't had the depth to cover some of the injuries that they've had, or fill some of those spots and stuff. But Katoa's been mean. I think the last game, that game that they played, he ran the ball, 10 plus times and over 100 meters. So, and I think what you're saying, really keys to winning a game is holding the ball. But if you've got halves that are willing to take on the line first before passing, it opens up sort of that passing option towards the back end of games and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Speaking as a half.
You should see his he's a really good runner of the ball. When he runs directly, he's able to either score a try or set up tries. In the last, I think it was last game and the game before that, he attacked the line where he broke the line and either gave an assist to Someone else scored a try, or he scored himself. Um, but yeah, there was some like when they were losing, their block plays after like he had passed the ball, the rest of their block plays just went to crap, and it was like either Farnworth cutting back on the inside and then like being able to hold his feet, but like yeah, it's just their block play after it leaves Kator that has been like not really that strong.
Yeah.
Then also Hammers, he's had a stink start to the season, bro. He just looks disengaged. Just looks like he's enjoying life at the moment.
On the Gold Coast
Up,
stuff.
right? I mean, wouldn't we all? But like, yeah, he just looked disengaged, and this game was the first time he looked like he was looking to really run the ball. And like, look what happens. They win, and he scores a try, and like barely scored in the last few games.
So I wonder if because Couture is like the squarest playmaker in the game, like with shades of like a Kronk and how square he played. I wonder if there's value in having a more playmaker centric fullback, because it's not obviously not what Hammer is, and
It's just speed.
Hammer's doing Hammer's doing
Kind of
really
need
well
like
at centre for Origin.
like when you had
Just open that up.
yeah, like when you talk about Cooper Cronk, like he had what Billy Slater out the back, and they
He
would
became the
have
best
played.
playmaking fullback.
Yeah, and then went
Yeah.
to the Roosters that opened up what Tedesco was,
And then he became a
complement
better
his game.
playmaking fullback. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Hammer's not that playmaking fullback. He's a off the cuff type player.
X Factor. Yeah.
But the person that they are missing, which is kind of like similar to the Rabbitohs, is Jai Gray, is Trey Fuller. Last year he was mean for the Dolphins, but this year he's injured with the ACL and is out for the whole season. But had he been there, he plays exactly like Jai Gray, like that real safe, and he gets heaps of meters as well. And then I think if he was still available, then Hammer would have been centre with Averillo out, which could open up his game even more. But Farnworth, bro, he's been the MVP for the Finns this year. He's just been holding it down. That little rivalry he had with Stags last week was gangster. But they're just going tit for tat. But yeah.
Averillo played 6 in the trial games, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that might even work a little bit more. Don't know.
Instead of Nikorima. Yeah.
Nikorima safe, but just, to offer something a little bit more.
I don't reckon even safe. I didn't rate him. I think he's a liability for the Finns, fighting for the 8, to be honest.
He's got the speed, but I don't know what else he really offers, to be honest. But shout out to both Firmo, bro. He's been solid for tight ends, holding it down for them as well.
Bro, I rate him, mate. To be honest, I rate him.
I don't mind if he's in our Origin team.
Yeah, 100.
No.
80 minutes, 12 tackles, 3 missed.
Hey,
that's just for fantasy.
Let's go.
He's like Critter. You don't see it. Hey, you don't see it, but he makes a big. He makes he's real important to his team. Just
chuck him in. All right, move on. Let's move on. I hit him with the South.
Broncos Tigers. Broncos coming away with the win there, 46-24. Right. The Tigers early on in the game, they were in there with the arm wrestle.
Yeah.
They were doing really good. Lucky. The confidence, there was a set restart early in the game, where teams always just settle in the middle to get to the last tackle. But with the set restart, Lucky just stuck to his guns and went with the set play. He saw something, went for I think it was a grubber for the first try for the winger.
Yeah.
Lo Lili filling in.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just good eyes up footy from Lucky. There's no wonder they're trying to throw some money at him to keep him at the Tigers. But then just Broncos just too experienced, too gun heavy in the halves, coming away with it late in the first half and then the rest of the game. But Tigers, man, they're looking pretty good. Definitely not the spoon contending team that they've been for the last couple of years. Definitely looking on the up, top 4, easily grand final contenders for this year. Bro, Piakura. I think he got concussed from it at the end of the game. But just the mongrel he brings, you can see why they chucked him into the extended squad for Queensland. Yeah, just going for a shot every tackle, but downside of that, he got done for a couple of penalties with high contact and stuff. Risk
Yeah.
pros and cons for getting sent off and things like that. But just the mongrel on him and stuff like that. Speaking as an ex-player, get your team up for a lot of the. Bro, he tries to put shots up, but he's folding blokes, and he's the youngest guy on the field, I think. But yeah, no,
Don't
he's
you?
sort of a little bright light there. Willison, oh bro, Willison is developing really well at the Broncos as well.
Mm.
But yeah, no, just the pieces they got there. Spine is just probably the best in the comp, one of the best in the comp. Yeah, no, they just piled on the points after the first half.
Did you say they got the best spine in the comp?
Oh, one of the best spines, I reckon. Well, here they got at the back. Oh, well, yeah, Walshy. Yeah, a bit biased toward Walshy because I feel like we haven't seen the best of him. But oh yeah, no, I'm missing a hooker. But I'm just bro, with Hunt and Reynolds alone, like just having Hayes, you touched on that, having two halfbacks pretty much running the show, and it showed like they were converting all the effort into points, and that's what you want from your top paid players.
Yeah, just as an ex-player under 11s Manurewa Marlins, and 2 games for Te Two Roosters. Yeah, Broncos, they're a bit of a juggernaut. When they get rolling, it's hard to stop their big boys in the middle. Like, especially if you got Big Willie coming off the bench and just being big. Kerrigan Haas obviously set the best platform in the game. This is always going to be a big test for the Tigers. I really like the Tigers. I really like what they got going.
Yeah.
May was a massive pickup.
Yeah.
But I love Galvin. He's touching the ball in almost every other play. He's like shooting side to side. But the thing is, Luai is the one that looks a bit lost. So it's once he finds his feet, they'll be even better. And they're already outperforming where I expected them to be given the youth in their team and where they'd come from the last few years. Their spine is really underrated. Dream Buller's a gun.
Yeah.
Like I said, Galvin's a gun. They're locking down. Luai's got the experience. And Api at 9 with all of his experience. So really looking forward to watching them continue to grow. Broncos, they'll be in the hunt for top 4, if not pushing number 1, with maybe the Storm. Having a experienced half in the NRL is vital, and they've got 2 of the most experienced halves in 6 and 7, and Mam back there with all of his skill. So they're just so stacked. Their big thing is attitude. If they don't get the attitude right, then they can just fall off. So, but big things for Bronx.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like, to beating the Bronx is getting them early. Like, if you can kind of put them off sort of their game, because like you said, bro, like once they get on a roll, like tries just flow, man. And like I think big thing from the Tigers, like they really missed Luai in this game because like at least his like mentality and the way that he like brings himself into the game and the way he gets into like mentally gets into people's heads and stuff, bro. Like I think that would have kept the Tigers to a closer scoreline than what it was. Like that first half, the way the Tigers were playing, man, was like really good footy. Like they found a chink in the Broncos that I hope most teams kind of saw that and pick up on it. And when they do play the Bronx, they use it like the early kick, like because Reece Walsh defends in the line and like that early kick to find space in behind. Like that's where they scored a couple of their tries and they found like a weak spot against them. But yeah, if you don't stop them early, like I think in that second half, like first set, like Ben Hunt gets out, kicks a 40-20. They score off the tap ball and then go down again. Or like next set after that, what is it? Reynolds chip over the top, score, and then they're down what
Bro,
to
he's got a punchable face, Reynolds, when he does that little trip over the top.
Yeah.
And then just little cheeky smile after Fuller misses that. Oh, bro. He's got a punchable face, man.
Yeah. But like the Tigers is still learning like about who they want to be and who they like the team that they want to become. And bro, that YouTube series that they put up, like pretty mean to see some of the insides that go on there and what Benji's trying to create. So I only have good things for them. And like Kay said, man, like they're a pretty cool team to watch.
Mm. No, yeah. Think about Broncos, bro. They got attacking weapons everywhere. So yeah, Carl, like you said, bro, you need to um try and score early and get some points early to throw them off their game. Because when they're rattled, I can't remember what game it was, but when they're off their game, and it was like, yeah, put them off their game for a little bit. But then when they're attacking, bro, they got weapons everywhere. They just unearth, Shibasaki, bro, he's a Ghana center, bro. Got me thinking about growing my goatee out as well. It was interesting that Payne only played about 15 minutes. But I think by then they're kind of feeling like they're on the front foot. So I don't know whether it was just fatigue because he's been playing 80 minutes for a lot of the time, more like over 60 minutes. But that was interesting to see. Terrell May. It was interesting that a game with Payne Haas and Terrell May, and then that the person that got the most points was Keggs. That sexy guy there, Paddy Carrigan. He was the one that got the most points. And he's been like kind of like we know like how important he is by with a side of pain, and he's been kind of not like being like a talking point because everything's just been on Haas and how good he is. But so me shout out to him, like he's been consistent, same. And moving him to 10 was really good for them as well. That 1-2 punch in their attack. But again, he just plays the same as he would at 13. Just with a different number on his back. So I'm not sure whether he'll play there for Origin, whether they put him there at Origin or he goes back to 13. I know.
Yeah, him at prop, Him at prop, I think just depends on who they got on the bench filling in for the rest of the rotation. But if you find a weakness in the Broncos, I reckon it'll be in the back row with the likes of Kajuski. He was at the back. Hetherington, I think Hetherington was all right. But
Kajuski couldn't make a tackle.
Yeah, bro. He
missed a lot of important tackles. Yeah, can't have that if you're competing for a chip.
What about the Tigers coaching staff though? Like all the ex-Tigers going there.
Did I see that in the box? Who else is there?
Hodgson, I think like Hines in there.
I'm not. Farrah's in there?
Hey? No, I don't think Farrah's there. No.
He used to be.
Well,
but they got, those two, Benji. I think John Morris is the other one. Yeah. I don't know. Did he play for the Tigers or
just he's played for them.
Tigers
and Sharks.
Yeah, man. But even though like while he's just saying Galvin gets the ball a lot, Luai, like his impact on their game is massive. Like he's like off the cuff guy that can play with Galvin leading them around, and he can exactly what he does with the Panthers. You got Cleary over there, and he's being able to play off the cuff footy, but he's also just like their motivator there, which is why he got picked as captain. He's able to like G everyone up. A lot of things, him and Critter, like the stats probably won't show it as much, but they're so important to their teams to get on the front foot. I thought he was like, definitely missing in this game.
So my comment to that one is, so he is probably one of the best Robins that we've had in the game for a while with Cleary's Batman, just because his game, he's got that wicked step back in and he creates out of nowhere where Cleary's all the structure. Yeah. And so he's now got to fill in that role of creating that structure and directing the boys around, which he can do because he did it with Samoa in the World Cup. The other thing, though, is now that he's captain, he can't be as much as a grub, because look who was a grub against the Waz a week ago and would have got sent off, and that's why he's been banned now. That's one of the best part of his games, as you guys know. Is that a bit of a missing feature of his game since he's got to be a leader now?
Nah, I think he can.
Grub and captain?
I think he do all the captain stuff. You let Uppy do all the captain stuff, and
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
let
100%.
him play.
It's not a
because
talked about enough thing in the game, getting to
he
the heads of your
gets
opponent.
Yeah,
he gets under the skin of players like no one else currently in the league.
I
I love
think,
that, bro. I love
yeah,
that about him. Like, as much as I hate it when he does it to people wearing Maroons jersey, every other team he does it to, as long as it's not the Finns or the Wars, bro. And I love it.
Good for the game. Good for the game. Leave it out on the field.
Taruva needs to step up and do some of that grubby stuff, though.
Bro. They can hands down. They got the best celebration at the moment. The Tiger Claw, yeah, bro. That's gangster. What they're doing over there.
Did you see
Now, how about
Rico?
they cancel Tupelotu though?
Yeah.
Man,
That was good for the game, man. They're stopping all the stuff that's going to stop the growth of the game.
Reece Walsh did one of those, like, and he went like that when one of them scored the try. I can't
oh,
remember.
he's playing for the Kiwis.
No,
Gosh. Um, the forward pack for the Tigers though, like all the young guns, bro,
yeah.
they've under some really for Norbole,
Yeah, Bolly's improved a lot this year.
he's been awesome for them.
Bit of a pretty boy there, fella.
Yeah, well, us front rowers and we are pretty boys, man. Hey, talking to starting prop Life Church in 2011.
Nah,
So
it's just
front
crack up
row.
when they see themselves on the screen. You can see that they're looking and checking themselves out.
Who else? The Finau brothers as well.
Yeah.
They also
Fine, fine,
oh yeah, sorry. What did I say? Follow.
you
You
know.
know,
You know,
you know.
Finau.
Same. What a sad.
No, not the same. Not the same. They're not
But
cancelled.
there's some explosive tries that they've scored in like individual tries, like different brothers
Yeah,
doing
Sione in
the
this
same
game, I
thing.
think, and yeah, Samuela usually in the other games,
Mm.
which is not common for the back rows.
Just explosive, eh? That explosive leg speed, heaps of squats.
The Silva has been good too. The man with the best eyebrows in the game. Off the bench for them is awesome.
Is that him or
Yeah,
Mamazulis?
that was a bit tough for this game though, because I felt like they needed up his presence to stop that run that the Broncos went on. I don't think there was any stopping the Broncos from going on their run, but I think having up beyond would have helped. But they had
Up his
the Silva
defense,
quite early.
like up his defense is like underrated, eh? Like some of the tackles that he makes. Like he'll wrap up some like those leg tackles that he makes and drops some of these big guys, man. Like what you're saying, yeah, he probably was needed in that first part of that second half.
Bro, the legs tackle's dying in this game. Hey, everyone going high nowadays,
Have to,
just risking the high tackles.
have to.
But yeah, trying to block their second phase play. But man, the leg tackles is almost dying in this game, man.
Yeah,
no, it's more that it slows it down.
yeah.
It's less the offload and more slowing the player down.
It's because you can wrestle him to
Yeah,
the
wrestle up,
and
wrestle
stay
low.
up front. Yeah,
Yeah,
just all of that wrestling practice used to have.
I told you under 11s, Marlon.
Yeah, Te Aratu would have taught you that, eh, bro?
Name me a game check. Must be Seagulls and Carl's old team, Storm.
So Carl's officially
No,
moving over to the
my
Wires from
still my
the Melbourne
team,
Storm
still
or
my
what?
team,
Gee,
Still
it's not
team
still
your
with
my
brand.
you where
team.
your Warriors
It's not your
is.
team anymore, bro.
FD, love the Wires, but still my team.
Yeah, nah, Storm coming away with the win there, 48-24. Manly were in it. Arm wrestle again early in the game, but then yeah, had I known that Hughes was coming back to this game, I would have tipped the Storm, but ended up tipping the Seagulls. And Hughesy just showing his experience there, unlocking the likes of Money, with Wishart filling in the seven there and sort of playing, or seeing him play, it looked like he was playing more of a six role. And Money sort of being absent in that game as well, sort of resulting in the loss there. But yeah, Hughes just coming back, you see the impact of Hughes unlocking pretty much the whole team, I thought, and letting Money do his thing, and we saw how good Money can be. Hopefully we don't get that version of Money in the Queensland side. Ola Kuatu, wow. If he gets a second chance in New South Wales, bro, game over for you fellas. Was that a no call on Money with German suplex he did on him? But yeah, just every time he's touching the ball,
Brock Lesnar will be proud of the suplex, the German suplex he did, right?
Bro, I think there was a no call too, and they were holding down his neck and everything. But I mean, the only time I'll defend money, but yeah, I'll look what this bro, Biggie Schmo looking really, really good.
Yeah, for me, just want to call out a few players. Obviously, Oluwatu, he was crazy. He's had a crazy start to the season. He's just a nightmare for halves out on the edge. He's all elbows and knees and stuff, so it'll be a nightmare to tackle him. And he's just hitting lines that he never used to hit. And he's running backdoor plays with a little bit of playmaking, so it's crazy to see him. He'll be deadly off the bench for New South. I think that's all the best way to use him, because then you got the option to use him as a mid as well. Actually, Utiko Manu stepped up this game. He was massive this game as well. Good to see him sort of rolling into his role there at the Storm as a big pickup from the Tigers. So they didn't even need him, to be honest, and to get a quality dude like him, it's unreal. Obviously, going to have a bounce back after that performance last week, and Money really stood up. He sort of owned the whole game. But this is going on a bit of a vibes check. The DCE saga, I think that's really going to impact the team. Maybe not his performances, because he seems pretty solid. It's just the talk about grubbing his name and doing a smear campaign. I think that's really hurting the club overall. So that they might see a bit of a not so good run over the next few weeks until they figure out what's going on there.
Like whether or not he's going to play on or whether or not he's going to sign somewhere else. And if he's going to sign somewhere else, just announce it so that like the club can kind of move on and get into a good space and kind of prepare for life without DCE. Like I know they're already thinking that, but you know what I mean? Like him still being there and still being around and still being captain, still being chief playmaker. Like it's hard for sort of the
Because
fans to kind of see
even
past.
Gerbo in the media, bro, you can see Gerbo is not happy. He's not giving any answers that gives him any support towards
Yeah,
DC. He's filthy.
yeah.
He looks like he's filthy. So yeah, definitely some tension there in the locker room.
Who do you guys reckon he's gonna go to? I heard talks about Bondi, but
Yeah, they were saying Roosters were in the lead, but I was thinking more like retirement plans where he wants to retire and him and his family happily ever after. I'm thinking Queensland.
It's
yeah,
got
Gold Coast.
maybe.
it's not really stacked up
I
there.
think like there's the talk that's come out like from some of those shows and stuff like about him wanting to win a premiership. Like he's probably gonna have to look for a team where he can just slot in and win one. I'm not too sure who it was that said it. Like talks about him potentially signing with the Panthers. You know what I mean? Like, cause like he could just slot into there and add a second sort of playmaking role to that. Because I don't know about Jack Cole, what his worth is there. Like, I don't really see it working and him slotting into that space. So, but there's potential.
Yeah, so maybe Panthers, Roosters. Don't really
Roosters,
see any
Roosters
other.
probably the front runner for him.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're not a top four team. I don't know.
with
It's
them, with
hard.
that, really?
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's with
well,
the Chooks, they're not going for a championship.
yeah, Storm don't have room.
Yeah.
Broncos don't have room. Panthers the only one that has room out of those really, challenging the top teams.
Pepe got like 4 line break assists in this game. Oh no, we'll look at the wrong column.
There's Pappy completely out of the conversation for
Hey, I
Origin.
take that back. I take that back. He actually got 4 tackles. Oh, there's new stuff. There's new stuff. Oh, he actually got made no stats, no line breaks, no tackle, no try assist, nothing. Just 1 try. Do you think he'll ever play Origin?
No,
No.
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 No chance.
Only
No
if
chance
there's
at all.
like absolutely no one else.
And fullback is so deep with
Yeah.
and New South and Queensland at the moment, but it's just so deep with good players.
It's just unlucky. Top caliber guy, but just can't get looking. Kato, right? Just looking here, he made the exact same stats as what's his face, Olokoatu. Right. he's just been solid, man. Ever since he's come back, I feel like he's improved every year on his game, ever since he's come back from the Waz and Katoa, bro. But Olakau'atu, do you guys reckon he should be on the bench for Origin or should he start?
Reckon better
On
impact.
Yeah, on
off the
form,
bench.
he's the best second rower in the comp right now. But I think with Origin, you play it safe, like Queensland's been doing for years. Like they're going to chuck in the same old dudes that have sort of performed for them in the past. So he still needs to prove himself at Origin level. He had a bit of a shocker last time he played. So I wouldn't
Do you
start
give
him. He
him
deserves
that?
a start.
Yeah.
No, I give him a bench spot to earn it. But if he keeps it up and has a really good series, he might game 3 when it's a dead rubber, chuck him on at starting.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, my issue with Biggie Small his last outing with New South Wales was he was sort of playing like he was staying on for 80 minutes, where they just needed him to just go in there arty for 20 minutes and see how he goes. But, he just came on playing like he played at Club Lane.
True, like
But I think,
Lemieux just plays the same role between
yeah,
club and
yeah, so it
Origin.
was
Yeah,
easy for him to go from Club Lane to Origin, whereas, for Olakau'atu, he came into a new role and, expecting to play sort of how he plays in Club Lane. But, I think we see a more dangerous version of Olakau'atu when it comes to Origin, especially off the bench. You just give him his role, it's clear. Come on for 20 minutes, just belt these guys and bend the line and do all the things that you meant to do just in a smaller time frame.
Any looking for Kolomatangi?
he might be around in the conversation. Like he's got he can play the mid and the edge as well, and that's always nice. But he's Origin caliber, and he's had a couple of decent seasons. It's just the depth that's crazy. So he'll be around the squad. I'll be surprised if he's not like 19th. Extra ones out.
Yeah, not for me. It's just watching a bit more closely, and like just some of the defensive stuff and issues around not really sliding quick enough, where we know that Queensland will spread the ball, and just some of the handling errors and stuff as well, like key points in some of the game, just sort of put them out of contention for me. Yeah, multicultural around seeing Ponga come out with the Tino flag.
Oh, do he?
So it looks like no Queensland this year.
Oh my God.
He's still playing Queensland, bro. I was watching a bit of that game. They but in the first half, it was all Bulldogs just on the Knights line, and I'm surprised they didn't get through their whole.
Yeah, they look like they were
20
defending
points
well,
through.
the Knights in the first
Only
half.
2
Yeah,
points.
yeah, for
Yeah,
ages.
2-0 for the whole first half, and then I think it was much the same in the second half where they couldn't defend it and then they started leak the points. But yeah, Ponga looked off. Well,
So-
not looked off, but because they're always on the back foot because they're always just defending, and that they barely got any chance down the other end.
So all the chat on the Bulldogs. So they go against the Green currently because they're still winning without a dominant and experienced half, especially since they lost Berto. But all the chat on them is that they've got the best defensive structure and general effort, which is like basically where the Panthers were. They just strangled teams, and to put another donut up against like a Knights team, they can just score from anywhere on the field is really impressive. So I think they're the team that rounds out the top 4. Could even be number 2, but
I believe they're
really
team
impressive.
that's undefeated.
Yeah, exactly. So they deserve to sort of be put up in that conversation.
So you got them, Storm, you got Panthers in the top 4 too.
Broncos.
Here's the 4.
And I think Panthers
come around.
Yeah.
Full strength squad.
Critters
Here's a
still-
Smoky in the doggies as well for the New South Wales. I thought was Jacob Preston.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always, I think the last 2-3 years, he was sort of playing well to be in contention for like a bench spot or extended squad. I think this year might be Still probably struggling to get up there for this year as well, but just on form with how the doggies are doing and how he's performing as well. Go-to player for their attack.
New South Wales Smoky for Queensland is Jack Cogger.
Right. Talk about the
Yeah,
structure
was your
to
hot
X
take,
Factor,
bro.
eh? Man, sort of blocking Sharp and Ponga, but yeah, got to have that structure somewhere.
Like Sharp.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is quick, eh? First step.
I feel sorry for Grubby Mahoney. But he's awesome for their team.
Still there. He folds blokes, man. Like in the last game I was watching, I think a couple of tackles in the row, he was just folding all the bigger dudes in the opposite team. Crazy.
He's Matt Ballon, bro. You remember Matt Ballon from the
Yeah.
Seagulls?
Yeah.
Still hopping out of the Broncos, eh?
He's stuck behind and I think Origin too. He's stuck behind
Cam Smith.
Cam Smith, bro. Just like how Mahoney's gonna be stuck behind Grant.
So if I was Queensland, I'd start Marnie and then Grant off the bench because he's the best hooker off the bench in the business. And Marnie can just fold blokes and dull the mid.
Mm.
Same as what Robbo does for New South. He's not a great player, but he pretty solid defensively, big body for a hooker. So
And then bring up
I'd think about that. Yeah.
What about your other take, bro? We had Yeo in the front row.
And it's the same with Kags playing mid because Kags is one of the best line folders in the business. He's just hard to tackle. But when you're playing 13, he's doing more playmaking. So if you take the responsibility of the playmaking away, he'll run more and be more effective, which is when Yo's going really well, he's actually bending the line, which is what happened into the Origin series last year. Coming off the bench, he was a mid and really folding and not worrying about the pass. So I definitely think having those guys not have to worry about playmaking is going to benefit their games.
Mm.
And then you just put in a tackling machine at 13.
Yeah, and that gives you a little bit more options. Crit Man Bolter for Queensland as well, or with the blonde hair.
And he can play the Watson role, bro. He's Connor Watson. Yeah, and who else is on here?
That's it.
Yeah, Mars Hugh, man, he's got all the potential to be the next To'o, but it's the areas that keep him from being like To'o, bro. Can run the ball, gain a lot of meters, post contact meters, but a lot of he averages like 2 or something errors in this game, like every game. It's annoying. Who are you gonna start as center? Just seeing Bradman Best here. So who would you guys pick for your starting centers for New South?
There's
Depends
another
on
smoky there as well, I reckon. Cherry. He's looking pretty good.
yeah.
It was a good matchup between him and Best and Critter today on their side. They're marking each other.
Yeah, well, Critter is the obvious pick. It's then whoever's going to fill that other role. If Trell is fit, I think he walks in just because he's X Factor and he just scares the other team. But he might be playing fullback, so Best has proven himself. I do like Sherry as well because he's fast and he's big body, so he ticks all of my boxes.
You sure you don't want to put Connor Tracy? Yeah. Hey.
Or Damien Cook again.
Turbo again.
Jack White's
Turbo then Cook.
Well, Jack Whitey there, come out of Origin retirement.
Oh, that thief.